Interior isolation cell. Black screen. There is a scraping sound, and lights appear as a cement block is removed at floor level. The 5-year-old's face appears in the rectangular hole. The 5-year-old whispers, "Hey Brewer, you okay?" Brewer crawls stiffly to the opening, squinting at the glare. Hoarsely, he replies, "I could use a beer." Interior guard barracks. The cement block wall of the cells adjoins the raised wooden barracks. The 5-year-old and Jensen have belly crawled beneath the building to the cell where they have long used a loosened block to communicate with prisoners in the hole. The 5-year-old says, "Your buddy made it out last night. The place went apeshit." Brewer replies, "Really? How come he didn't come take me?" The 5-year-old replies, "Maybe because you're shot in the leg." Brewer replies, "Oh yeah, listen, how long do they keep you in this disease hole?" Jensen replies to that, "Who knows? I was in there for a month once. The 5-year-old did 3 months." Brewer says, How do you keep from coming unglued?" Jensen replies, "Concentrate on a problem. Like I built my dream house in my head, brick by brick, board by board. If something really takes a day, I thought about it for a whole day like that." The 5-year-old chirps up, "I built a shopping mall." Jensen replies urgently, "Guards, see you." So they go, They slide the block back into place, and Brewer sits in front of it, coughing to hide the scrape, as the door is opened by the 2 guards. Morning light blasts in, blinding him, as one guard hauls him off roughly to his feet, despite his wounded leg. Brewer replies menacingly, "Watch it! Don't fuck with me, man!" Jerks a thumb at himself. "I'm Dinky Dow." The guards guffle and drag him off. Exterior rainforest morning. A line of Viet soldiers moves through shivering jungle. The camera booms up as they move past, revealing others beyond and the tops of parked trucks. The move ends on Rambo, watching them from the branches of a tree as they move by only a few meters below. The choppers search methodically nearby. Interrogation room now. We're going back to the interrogation room. Interior. Brewer is tussled tightly, his elbows tied together and drawn up painfully by a cord attached to the ceiling fixture. Polyushin looms in front of him, holding the truck tire bludgeon. Podolsky, looking for worse for wear, with a bandage covering half of his face, sits on the stool. The gaze of his exposed eye is malevolent. Podolsky says warily, "I think you know where he is going. Is there a rendezvous point? Some guerrilla contact? A transmitter, perhaps?" Brewer earnestly replies Podolsky, "No way. If I say anything, that's 3. The interrogator scowls, briefly perplexed. Podolsky rises, saying, "I cannot be responsible for the safety of the prisoners if he is not captured. This government now considers the existence of POWs an embarrassment, an unmarked grave in the jungle that may be their solution. I am only an advisor." Brewer replies, "Advise my dick, you Siberian scumbag." Polyushin explodes with a brutal blow to Brewer's ribs, which doubles him over in agony. He struggles to regain his breath, dragging at the air like terminal emphysema patient. Brewer slowly raises his head, sneering to them. "Christ, what do you think? What are you trying to do, man? Tickle me?" Polyushin snarls and smashes the Trutron down even harder. Exterior rainforest day. Rambo runs crouching along a shallow gully, trying to duck up around the end of the advancing line of Viet troops. He emerges from dense foliage onto a dirt track side road, only to see a flanking squad of about 10 men jogging toward him. They shout and hit the deck, opening fire as he dives into the underbrush. Rambo runs zigzag radically as small arms fire laces the woods around him. He crashes through foliage, abandoning stealth. Long lens whip panning camera shot with Rambo as he charges down a long slope, the trees a green blur. He crosses his arms over his face and batters through the brush with blind force. Exterior, hooch. Rambo bursts out of dense tangle, dragging streamers of vines, and finds himself in an explosion of squawking chickens. He is in the muddy dooryard of a rural hooch, part of a small hamlet of about a dozen buildings. Pigs scatter, grunting their surprise as Rambo sprints across the yard. Over a low rail fence between the hooches, soldiers charge down the slope behind him. Exterior, hamlet. Rambo emerges onto the main street at a dead run, tearing a swath through the everyday village activities. The Viet peasants scatter as the fierce American charges through their midst, a giant by their standards to begin with. Rambo is now a mud-caked nightmare, trailing vines and brambles, his face a mask of dark streaks topped by encrusting hair. He crashes into a panic-stricken young man on a bicycle, spilling them both. Rolls comes up running. Rambo charges course to intersect with an ancient truck which is accelerating away, headed out of the village. The truck, rusted and mud-cracked into a brownish lump on wheels, is hauling a load of chickens in a wire mesh cage on the flatbed. Rambo leaps onto the running board of the cab and points his pistol through the window at the terrified old man driving. Says in Vietnamese, "Keep driving." It would be cool if he said, "Don't look at me, look at the road." That's how accidents happen. Anyway, Rambo clings tightly as the truck rattles and bounces over the rutted road, which shortly emerges from a stand of trees to a long run along a field of elephant grass. Rambo sees soldiers covering the road through the trees on the other side. Behind him, more emerge from the village and open fire. A bullet shatters the filthy windshield, and the old driver loses control. The truck veers into a ditch sluice, hurling up a sheet of water and flops enormously on its side. Rambo lands clear. The old man begins to sob helplessly. The chickens scatter in all directions. Close on Rambo, freeing a rusted gas can from the twisted wreck of the truck bed. Wide from behind, the soldiers, as they pour AK-47, burst into the truck from 50 meters away. A figure dashes from the now burning vehicle into the field of tall grass, disappearing. Exterior road, edge of grass. Two troop trucks are deploying soldiers as a group of officers stand near the chicken truck. Sergeant Tay climbs down from a 6-by cab. Directing operations is Captain Vin. His face is bruised and abraded. One arm is in a sling. Vin motions Tay impatiently toward where he stands at the edge of the elephant grass, and Tay wades into it. Joining him, behind them, the coarse grass becomes an impenetrable wall almost 8 feet high. Vin snorts in disgust at Tay and points at some trampled stalks. There is a bright smear of blood, and beyond another, Vin cuffs his sergeant. Vin, in Vietnamese subtitle, says, "You see, not a demon, a man. Now we find where he has crawled to die." Tay indicates that the other should go ahead of him, so to have that honor. A line he knows Rambo. Rambo fucking escaped from him last time in the prequel. Anyway, we'll get to that when the prequel comes out. A line of 30 regulars move into the grass. Only radio antennas of the squad leaders are visible above the vining stalks. The helicopters arc in the distant ridgeline, converging. Exterior, elephant grass. POV handheld moving slowly through the grass. The point man parts the stalks ahead. It is quiet. An eerie world with only the swish of the grass and the occasional sound of off-calls of the troopers. There is a clear trail of blood smeared on the grass, indicating a serious wound. Various close-ups of the regulars as they advance, each man realizing how utterly isolated he really is in his own island of space in the green sea. It is hot. Some of the soldiers have their fatigues unbuttoned, sleeves rolled up. Sweat pours off of them. POV handheld, following the trail of blood. So we're looking through the soldier's eyes here. The grass is parted ahead and a small clearing comes into view. Slowly moving up to something lying in the grass. 2 chickens, their throats cut, are laying beside the gas can, which is upright with the cap off. A bizarre little shrine. There is no sign of Rambo. Reverse on the squad leader, puzzled, wary. Insert Rambo's hand into frame. Strikes a match, igniting a wet trail of spilled gas with a whoosh. The squad leader looks up, seeing the river of fire snaking toward them through the wavy stalks. He turns, panicked, crashes into men behind him, shrieks at them to move. They trample over each other to run as the trail of fire reaches the can. Boom! Boom! Tay sees a tremendous fireball erupt ahead. Hears screaming. He freezes in his tracks as the nightmare begins again, shrieking. A man runs toward him, on fire, charging past. Vin shouts futilely, F-U-T-I-L-E-L-Y, into a radio. Firing blindly, several troops open up. Exterior road. From the truck it is apparent that the grass is burning on its own, in a long line where the fuse was laid out, and is in a widening circle around the explosion site. Exterior, in the grass, black smoke rolls through the grass, and troopers stumble about, coughing as the wind carries it towards them. The choppers have moved in close overhead, and their rotor wash fans the fire, adding to the confusion. Fast handheld preceding Rambo. That's the camera angle. As he snakes rapidly through the stalks, he stops, hurls a grenade, runs on, navigated by instinct in the dense smoke. Vin is knocked down as a grenade detonates near him. A trooper helps him up, sees a figure running nearby, fires, hitting one of their own. More grenades, random firing. The din is incredible. The pandemonium absolute. A Viet soldier reels through the grass, obviously a recent conscript. The soldier is probably only 18 years old, and like all Vietnamese, looks even younger. He is terrified. He stumbles over the body of another trooper. As he rises, the shape slashes through the grass right in front of him. He has never seen an American, but it looks as monstrous as the descriptions. He raises his AK, but Rambo is quicker, kicking it out of his hands. The kid flops on his butt and finds himself staring up at Rambo's rifle barrel. He closes his eyes and pops into his mouth his Buddhist prayer medallion, hanging from a chain around his neck. He bites down and waits for oblivion. When he opens his eyes, there is nothing in front of him but grass. Nearby, Vin leads the retreat as his men fall back, dim shapes rushing blindly through the murk. He staggers, coughing, out of a strand of grass to see Tay sitting dazed nearby. Tay gives him an evil smirk. Barking orders like a maniac, Vin calls for mortars to be set up. 5 mortars are positioned. Elevation set. Mortar bombs poised above the launch tubes, and the helicopters clear off. When the last wounded man is dragged clear, Vin signals for a sighting round. It explodes beyond the wall of flame. The mortar opens fire. The field explodes seconds later with the first salvo. Earth shredded grass and hurled skyward. A second salvo lands. A third, and on, pulverizing the whole entire area.